Welcome to yet another episode of the Beard Al Podcast, the podcast about two of the greatest things in the world, beer and Weird Al. And whoo, doggy, we are in for a good episode today. I feel like I've been hyping this thing up for quite some time. It's going to be a good one. We're talking about Twister, and Russ is here. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for rolling in from the living room.
You know, I do what I can.
I really do appreciate you doing that. And in this edition of Oops, All Robinson, Zakk is back. Hello, Zakk. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you. And for those of you listening, this is Zakk's first time like remote recording with us. Usually when he's been on the show, it's been when he's been here in Florida hanging out with us for a while. But you know, he's got himself set up to record remotely now. So that's what's happening. So this is exciting stuff. This is
very exciting.
Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, we can do this more often now. We don't have to
yeah, that's for sure.
Wait for him to be here. This is stuff that can happen. So, and people who know this show should know, you know, who you are, Zakk, and you really need no introduction. But so, you know, let's just catch up. What's new with you? What's going on in your world? What's happening?
Well, I got another tattoo today, which is another Weird Al song.
Beautiful tats. No, it's not.
But yeah, I did. I've been great. I've been working a lot. But I mean, I've been on adventures with my dog, working around, doing a lot of stuff. But other than that, I mean, it's same old, same old.
Well, that sounds wonderful. I love good adventures with a dog, as you well know. So
Yes.
I love that you're doing that. You know, I feel like I need to, you know, ask this because, you know, over here at Ye Old Beard Al Podcast, I personally don't feel super in touch with too much that's like new in the music world. I get very focused on this is what I like, this is what I enjoy. It's Weird Al kind of stuff. Anything new, interesting you've been listening to?
I wouldn't say new, more interesting. With the recent passing of Oliver Tree, I've been really getting back into his music. And I think that he very much leaned into the odd is beautiful. He has one of his albums is called Ugly is Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he kind of leaned into that, kind of in a similar light that Weird Al does. And I've been getting more into his music again. Which I enjoy more of it that's come out since I fell out of listening to his music.
Oh yeah, you know, and so I'll be like fully honest. His whole thing was a complete blind spot for me until unfortunately he passed away, and then I saw a lot of folks that I know from the Weird Al space, you know, posting about it, and I was like, wait a second, he must have been doing something weird, you know?
Yeah, he rocks the bowl cut mullet.
Yeah, that's something. That's something else. So, Russ, anything you want to talk about before we get into this?
No, I mean, this is the second podcast appearance I've made in the same day today.
Yeah, why didn't you? Tell us about that.
I got up at 4 a.m. today so I could get on StreamYard and record a Michael Jackson-based podcast with two gentlemen over in England. And they were in separate areas too, so it was very good. It's one of those technology things that's just awesome that you can record with people across the world and have it be instant and whatnot. And part of what we covered during the episode was the fact that, you know, like, here's three people that would have never known each other all the way across the earth from each other, talking to each other about MJ, and it's because of Michael Jackson that we like came together and, you know each other and whatnot. So the main focus of the episode was to celebrate the fact that the biopic has either or is about to hit $1 billion, which is something I've been telling everyone for at least 2 years would happen. So for me, it wasn't a matter of if it was going to happen, it was a matter of when it was going to happen. And it was just great. Like, we had a whole huge conversation about like I say, about us all being brought together in the first place. And then, of course, we went in depth on how, like, the media is just never going to be able to hold this guy back, like, no matter how much they try. So it was just a really good time. And I don't even know when that is coming out, but I do know that I got up at 4 a.m. for it, and it was a 2-hour long episode, and then now we're rounding out our night with this.
Yeah, it's crazy. He had 14 hours between podcast recordings.
Yeah, I actually got to sleep in today because I took the day off work.
Very
Woo.
nice. Very nice.
I love it. So, on to the meat of what we're talking about here. This is the song Twister off of Even Worse, which is what we have been discussing here on the Beard Owl podcast for quite some time. This is an original song in the style of the Beastie Boys, and it's one of the shortest tracks in Weird Al's catalog, based off of course, the classic Milton Bradley game Twister.
Well, the deaf one, yeah.
It is the deaf one. So,
out of all their games, I find it to be the deaf one.
yes, it is the deafest of all Milton Bradley games. I would argue.
Not whack, even. I
No,
would say. Yeah.
it's nowhere close to whack. So let's start with just some first impressions of hearing Twister. I don't care who wants to go first.
Well, I mean, for me, the big thing was, Even Worse is an album that, because I started with Dare to Be Stupid, I started buying the Weird Al albums as they were released. So I would get them and listen to them straight through, and then many, many, many more times afterwards. So, like, for me, I didn't have any idea what it was going to be about or sound like or anything until it hit, like, on my first listen through. Even Worse, and definitely stood out on the record because it doesn't sound anything like what else is on that album. I think, well, obviously by design, because the Beastie Boys didn't really sound like anything else that was going on in music at the time. So yeah, it for me, like when it first started, as I was listening to Even Worse for the first time, it was like pretty jarring. But then as soon as I totally understood what was going on, with it sounding like the Beastie Boys on purpose, then I was totally cool with it. And if anything, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this later, but if anything, when it ended, I was like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I would like more of that now.
Yeah. So how about you, Zakk? I mean,
So coming from the modern era of music where songs are generally shorter for the most part, the length of it didn't really hit me until you brought it up. I'd listened to it a million times on streaming and been like, okay, well that's a song. I didn't really think about the length of it. Now I've come to listen to it and be like, okay, I'm going to put that back on because it doesn't seem long enough now that I can think about it. But I'd never really thought about it as being a short song. But I definitely, the Beastie Boys I've gotten into in the last 5-6 years. And I very much think that is a very good style pastiche of the Beastie Boys.
yes, for sure. So the first time I heard this, I don't think I really truly understood what was happening with it. I didn't have all of the context for, what the Beastie Boys were all about because again, I was listening to Weird Al initially in the mid 90s is when I started with all of that. So then I'm going backwards and I was like, this is here.
Yeah. I mean, what this is mostly based on is Licensed to Ill with, I'd have to look up and see when Paul's Boutique was released, but
It was after this,
was it?
89.
Okay, then it must be all based on Licensed to Ill because Paul's Boutique is brilliant and carries over some of the sounds from Licensed to Ill. So I wasn't sure if it was based on that at all, but obviously it wouldn't have been. But at the time when you would have heard the Beastie Boys, I mean, they were an entirely different sound.
Yeah.
Like if you what you'd ever heard of the Beastie Boys, which at that time would have been like Ill Communication and Check Your Head, like if someone had played this for you and been like, hey, it's a Beastie Boys pastiche, you would have been like, no, it is not.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they completely changed their sound later on. So I could totally see being lost on it, until someone, it's funny. It's probably one of those things where when you finally heard tracks off of License to Ill, you were probably like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. Well, yes. And this is more, I don't know if I was going to save this anecdote for later or not, but just for the context of it all, my mother has told me that when I was a little itty bitty tiny tot in the car seat, I loved "You Gotta Fight for Your Right to Party."
Oh yeah,
I absolutely loved
Well,
that at like the age of 2.
for sure. But and the point of your story is not lost on me. But that also sounds completely different than the rest of License to Ill.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So even if you were like, yeah, the Fight for the Right guys, you'd have been like, yeah, but this doesn't sound like that either.
Right.
You know?
Right. Sure. So, you know, we can dig into some of this stuff as we go on, but like really this is more the beauty of a joke that doesn't overstay its welcome. You know, like Zakk, you so eloquently kind of put this without even trying, is that it never registered to you that this song was short because it does what it needs to do in the time that it takes to do it, and it just does what it needs to do.
Yeah, it's perfect. I think it's perfectly timed, the way it is, and I think that it's short on purpose. I don't think that Weird Al ran out of Beastie Boys ammo, because there's no such thing. And I don't know. I think that it's perfect in length, and the joke, like you said, doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah. So that's, both of you can answer this question if you'd like. Would the joke of this song still work if the song were like 3 minutes long, like twice as long as it is?
Well, yes and no. I like License to Ill is loaded with short songs. Like there's a couple on there that are like longer than 3.5 minutes, but the ones that I can think of are that way because of like outro beats and stuff, so like that's kind of part of this too, is that the Beastie Boys songs were not very long. I mean, I'd have to look it up, but I think there's like 11 or 12 tracks on License to Ill, and when you have that many tracks on a record, there's only so much time, so it's short. But I'm trying to think. Yeah, I could probably name them all if I if I was pressed to.
If you were pressed to.
Yep. Like the song "Girls" that prefaces "Fight for Your Right" is like 1.5 minutes or something like that.
Girls is 2:12.
Yeah. So you see, like I see, she brought up the time listing like on the tracks, and they're all like 3.5 minute cuts. And again, the ones with the longer are mostly ones with like outro beats, so like the meat of the song is already done anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, let me say, like Zakk said, I don't think that there would be, like, Weird Al could make it funny for another 3 minutes, but I think that's part of the point.
The humor is in keeping it short and sweet.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of what the Beastie Boys were known for.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's totally fair. I mean, I don't know. That's you are far more expert at this than I. I know the Weird Al song.
Right.
So that's what I'm here for. So with that being the fact that I know the Weird Al song Twister, we should do a little bit of a slight deep dive on the Beastie Boys for those of us like me who don't know much, right?
Sure.
So, where were the Beastie Boys in 1988? No, physically, like where were they located?
New York.
Okay, no, I that far.
Yeah.
That
The 5 boroughs. It's right there in an album title.
I know.
Jeez.
That's great. Yeah. So, what? Because we were taking a look at their discography, right? Because License to Ill, this would have been based off of basically just that, because like you said, like I said, Paul's Boutique was 1989, and I literally only knew that for preparing for this episode, so I wouldn't have known that otherwise.
You should hear Paul's Boutique. That record is fantastic.
I'm sure I would like it. Yeah. Well, we don't have to mention that at all. I was going to say it ranked 156 on Rolling Stone's 500 greatest albums of all time, but we don't like to talk about Rolling Stone.
No, it's not even a matter of like, and actually that came up on the podcast this morning. Like those lists don't mean anything anyways. Like they only make them for clicks. And by they, I don't even mean Rolling Stone. I mean everyone. Like when they make those lists, like you know, the top 50 movies in the 90s. You know, they put Pulp Fiction in like 11 to 20 just to outrage everyone. You know what I mean? Or like Forrest Gump is in like 30th place just so everybody goes, oh, no, I can't believe, oh, God damn it. You know, and that's what they do those things for, you know. Like Paul's Boutique is great. It's not in the best 150 albums I've heard in my lifetime, let alone of everything that's ever been released.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, sure.
It's a fantastic sophomore effort. That's for damn sure. But the thing with the Beastie Boys at that time was that they, and this is going to sound so odd, but I assure you I was there. I know what I'm talking about. They were considered the dangerous rap of the time. And I'm not saying that to be funny at all. Like that. So, and I'm going to try and crash course this real quick.
Yeah.
Up until like the predecessor to like what we now consider gangster rap would have been like in 88, 89, somewhere around there when like Public Enemy dropped their records, when NWA, for sure, when NWA dropped Straight Outta Compton, like until that point where rap artists started telling you like what was going on in their cities, everything in rap was this side of battle rap.
Oh, right. You were saying because you would the this is me putting it into context with my very limited knowledge. Like you played me some of LL Cool J's early work, and it was basically like it's basically like I'm really good at this. I'm better than you at this.
Yeah, and that's really what it was. It was like whoever was the rivals in each city, like Kool Moe Dee and LL Cool J had an enormous rivalry, but it was all like I have better mic skills than you. Run DMC feuded with just about everybody because all of their rhymes are based on we're better at this than you. But there was never any like nothing ever progressed further than just like talking on the records. And then the Beastie Boys like were first of all, a lot of the lyrics on Licensed to Ill are about how they're not good at this. And they were like talking like rock stars, but as rappers. Like almost all the songs on Licensed to Ill are about, you know, how much they partied or drank or women they were with and whatnot. So like that's what the dangerous aspect of the Beastie Boys were at that time. And then like and it's so interesting because after gangster rap took over, the Beastie Boys went in an entirely different direction. And I would argue like in a, like definitely lyrically a much safer direction. You know, like they just kind of were like, yeah, okay, well, we're going to be done with this now. Like, you know, because I don't know what three guys from New York could tell us about what goes on in the inner city in Los Angeles. So I think it was a smart move to go, yeah, okay, we don't have anything to say about that, and leave maybe not leave the genre, but go in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I mean, again, while you were talking on this, I was like. I had to find a little, you know, context again for like the legacy of the Beastie Boys, and I found a very interesting quote from the book "What's That Sound? An Introduction to Rock Music and Its History." The authors of that, music journalists Andrew Flory and John Kovach, surmised, quote, "Perhaps the Beastie Boys will prove to be the Elvises of rap. The inevitable white catalysts necessary for exploding black music innovations into Anglo ears."
Okay, I know you don't like swearing on your show, but that's horseshit. Like, that's complete and total horseshit. Like, what? Like, holy shit. Okay, so I grew up, and by the way, I should clarify before I say this, I'm still white. I grew up a white kid in the suburbs of Detroit, so like an hour north of Detroit, and we in our very white elementary school all of us had at least the second and third Run DMC records. LL Cool J was floating around. Like I said, Kool Moe Dee. There were people that were playing Grandmaster Flash. Like to say that the Beastie Boys are the thing, like the Beastie Boys might have brought rap to like Iowa, but like to say something like that is just I mean, that's so far off the reservation. Like, and that's the reason why I get so fired up about that is because, like, what are you doing writing a book about the history of music when you just wrote one of the dumbest sentences I've ever heard?
That's kind of why I wanted to say it out loud. Did
Like,
you see what your reaction
what
would be?
are
And
you
this is kind of what I expected.
Like, let me make this 100% clear. And, you know, I'm sure a bunch of your listeners don't know the geography, but I know for a fact Zakk does. The Ace Hardware that you worked at in Waterford, Michigan, Zakk, I bought my first copy of License to Ill at that Ace Hardware. And I don't mean it was something else. It was an Ace Hardware. And they used to sell records at the front of the Ace Hardware. And to give you an idea of how much we didn't need anybody to break through anything, when I bought my License to Ill copy from Ace Hardware, I also bought a Hulk Hogan kite with it that day. So, like, to act like if Ace Hardware in the middle of Whiteville, Michigan, was selling License to Ill, the wall had already been broken down.
This portion of the Beard Owl podcast brought to you by Ace Hardware.
It's just mind-boggling to me to say something like that. Please tell me, like, was that quote at least like from the year they debuted or something?
No, it was from 2022.
Oh, Jesus, jumped up Christ. Like, what, like, you see, this is, I don't want to go off on a huge.
Well, look at it. That's kind of the point.
But the thing is, we can't have this. We can't have revisionist history like this. Like that. That's just to just act. That does such a disservice. Like, do you think the Sugar Hill Gang wants to hear that?
No.
Okay, because they put out Rapper's Delight in 1978.
Right.
And you know where that was played? All of America. Like, God damn it. That, like, that just makes me so mad. Like in here, you and I have talked about this before with, like, the reason I don't like the movie Bohemian Rhapsody is because when you twist the facts, and I understand that all biopics twist the facts to a certain extent, but when you twist the facts that bad at the end of the film where they had Freddie be diagnosed before they did Live Aid, you have twisted the facts so much you're taking away from history, because it is a way cooler story that Freddie, who, by the way, was not diagnosed until like 5 years after Live Aid, Freddie and Queen just went, hey, you know what? We're not even talking to each other, and we can still go out there and rip everybody else to shreds. And they did. That's way cooler than, oh, man, I feel sorry for you. You're dying. Let's do a good show for once, which is what they, right? And with this, like, you are discounting everyone who did rap before and acting like the Beastie Boys just dropped License to Ill and then everybody else woke up. Like, I'm pretty sure.
By golly, rap is cool now.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Run DMC and Aerosmith would like a word with these guys.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's the track that brought rap to all of America, is their cover of Walk This Way. It, like, to all of America, I mean. And then after that, the Beastie Boys came along.
Yeah.
And I'd say this with zero disrespect to the Beastie Boys. If the two surviving members were sitting here right now and you read that, they would have got up and left.
Probably. So, anyway, Zakk, do you have any thoughts about the cultural impact of the Beastie Boys?
Well, I do have thoughts on what he just said.
Sure, go.
I think that quotes like that and people trying to mislead people who weren't there for it are damaging, because someone my age, or even someone around your age, Lauren, who wasn't there for when License to Ill came out, could read that and then not think about the timeline.
Yep, and then
like,
it becomes,
oh, well,
then it
I
becomes
guess
fact.
these guys just followed behind Run DMC, which I think is, like you said, discrediting to people like the Sugar Hill Gang. And then when you talk about the whole Elvis part of it, it's discrediting to a lot of black artists who were popular and did break that barrier before Elvis.
Yeah.
Elvis brought it to another level, but he wasn't like it's the same thing with the Beastie Boys. They weren't the ones that broke the barrier.
Yeah.
Saying that they were is just discrediting to other people.
Well, and
misleading to people.
My overall point was exactly what you started with too, is when you do this, you cause other people to come along and go, oh no, I read that once. You know, and then that just becomes fact. And it's like, no, that's not fact. Like, we have got to stop reporting on this stuff and putting revisionist history things on it, because like what happened matters. What happened actually matters, not what these guys want to put a spin on.
Yeah.
I hope I never hear another word from that book.
Okay. Well, I won't talk about it again.
No, I didn't mean on this. I meant on any other topic. Like if I read what they have to say about like any other major artist, I'm going to probably lose my mind.
Well, when that's okay, so that's good to know. We shan't talk about that book ever again. So I mean, at the time, right? The Beastie Boys really were kind of a recognizable target for a style parody, because they had a lot of things that made them sound unique and different from anything else that was, sort of happening at the time. So what makes Twister sound like the Beastie Boys, right? I mean, you've got the Weird Al's vocal delivery first and foremost. I think it's fantastic. Anybody?
Yeah. I mean, so the Beastie Boys have a very recognizable sound through all of their eras. I don't think that there's another group that sounds like the Beastie Boys. Like you can, if you talk about rap, you can always find like a comparable, like somebody who sounds like somebody, but not an exact copy. There is no one even close to how the Beastie Boys sound, even in my knowledge, at least.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, it's funny to think about that for a second, because there's Zakk, you went with us to see this First Coast Comedy, the improv place that we go to see all the time. They do they have a rap show that they do from time to time.
Okay.
And it's improv rap. And one of the things they do, it's very literally doing an improvised rap to a Beastie Boys cadence.
Awesome.
So they take a name from the crowd, and one time I got them to use Russ as the name from the crowd. So it starts with, there's a guy I know and his name is Russ, and then everybody like shouts the punctuate, and then they rotate, and then it's like he had to go to work, so he took the bus, and so they have to fill in the thing that guess the way the sentence ends. But like you couldn't do that with somebody that didn't have like that familiar sort of cadence to it.
Well, besides that, one thing I really like is that the Beastie Boys, obviously there's three of them, and they all three have very distinct vocal styles. And I like that Weird Al does the three different vocal styles on it. Especially, I mean, there's a 1-to-1 for Ad Rock. The way he like the spin ring, cool, all the shots. Like he's like
Twisted ties you up in a knot.
But that's 1-to-1 for Ad Rock. Like he's obviously doing an Ad Rock impersonation there, right? Whereas at the time, Mike D was probably the less noticeable of the three voices, but he has like when he does some MCA stuff that's like a little more lower and gravelly. But I like when all the gang vocals happen, like it's just the three, like because that's how the Beastie Boys are on License to Ill. There's not like a ton of people on the gang vocals. It's just the three of them saying the same thing at the same time. So he would have overdubbed the other two. Mm-hmm. But again, that's the attention to detail instead of just being like, oh well, that's they do gang vocals there. Like no, they don't. They do three of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very good point. And to that point, fun fact: Weird Al recorded, so yes, like he kind of did a separate thing for each vocal in it, but he did each one in one take, because per Weird Al, if I tried to do it again, it would sound less like the Beastie Boys.
Well, yeah, for sure, I'm sure. I didn't know that, but that doesn't surprise me.
So good for him.
Yeah, because that's the thing with License to Ill. I don't know much about the recording of License to Ill, but it very much sounds like three very drunk guys did one take.
Sure.
So maybe that's what Weird Al was figured, and for authenticity's sake.
Yeah, that's what he was going for. I love it. So Zakk, anything else that you want to point out, like what makes this sound like the Beastie Boys?
I mean, I think we hit on everything that Weird Al was kind of going for with it.
Yeah.
I think that you said exactly. I mean, he went pretty good with the one takes there. I mean, if he did it again, I don't think it would sound quite as close.
No.
Really, the only thing that the song doesn't have that I think every song on License to Ill has And to be clear, I'm not saying this is a fault. I'm just saying it's the only thing that's missing, and it would have cost a lot of money to do it anyways. Is every single song on License to Ill has like some sort of very recognizable classic rock riff.
Yeah.
But to do that would have cost a lot of money,
Right.
and wouldn't have furthered the joke. Like, you get that this is the Beastie Boys without that. So
Instead of classic rock, he's just riffing on a classic game.
right.
So, so yeah, I also wanted to point out, just an interesting connection is that Weird Al and the Beastie Boys both emerged from scenes where humor wasn't considered a weakness, right? And to some extent, both acts were kind of underestimated because they were funny.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. When the Beastie Boys, after they got done knocking the wall down for everyone else, they were not even remotely taken seriously. Like, and again, you can revisionist history this all you want to, but like, I bought License to Ill and I liked it a lot, but like, I didn't know anybody who took that album seriously. Like not even close. Like, if you put someone in a time machine the day License to Ill came out and showed them that the Beastie Boys were like bigger than they ever were in the mid 90s, they wouldn't have believed you. Like, even if you put them in a time machine and showed them, they wouldn't have believed you, because they were so much like, they were absolutely seen as flash in the pan, like not serious. And in defense of the snooty and uppity, when you have a record where the greater majority of it, well, like you already said, Fight for Your Right, the prelude to that is Girls, She's Crafty, Brass Monkey, like most of those songs were not meant to be taken seriously anyways, and I think really, if anything, at least for me, the perception that really damaged them was the actual video for Fight for Your Right to Party, because like literally everybody was just like, oh, okay, well, I hope these guys enjoy their 15 minutes, and I'm happy that everyone was wrong on it, because I like the only songs everybody knew when this album was released was like before Fight for Your Right was released. Everybody knew Brass Monkey, and then like some people knew Paul Revere, but then Fight for Your Right like blew up in a different way. Like, it wasn't nobody I knew that liked rap liked that song. Like, I knew a lot of people who liked that song and then got the album and were really mad that the rest of it was rap. My brother-in-law was like so mad that the rest of the album was rap. But the video for the song, it would make David Lee Roth be like, oh, that's way too much. So when that video came out, most of everybody was like, okay, well, I hope they saved money, because it's a short ride.
Yeah. Zach, have you ever seen the video for Fight for Your Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very good. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they leaned into that not being serious pretty hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I don't discredit that. Just credit them for doing that. I think that's exactly what they should have done.
No, and me either. But like, and again, I understand I'm not the average bear for the age that I was listening to this stuff, but I saw and heard a lot more going on that record than like, and I know Rick Rubin has some, not near as much as he'll tell you to do with it, but I know he has some to do with it. But the samples that are used on that record are like really astute, like really, 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 really smart samples. So like the package there's so much more going on in the package as a whole than like, I was more or less like disappointed when Fight for Your Right blew up, because I thought, they're going to get pigeonholed, and then Paul's Boutique came out and was like, no, we are not.
No, we are not.
So, yeah.
So yeah. So again, I think we've talked plenty about the Beastie Boys, right? So like, this License to Ill was their first album, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get a bunch of people. Actually, no, none of their stuff beforehand counts. This is the first album.
This is the first album, and but like, they were doing more like punk things before that, is my understanding from the research that I did ahead of time.
No, you're not wrong in that, but it's a much bigger deal is made out of that than it actually was.
Of course, but
You play 4 punk shows in New York. That doesn't make you a punk band. That makes you a band who can get booked in New York, which is anybody.
That's also true. But then they took that energy to rap in a way that like nobody else really felt like they were doing at the time. And then License to Ill happened, and they have enough on that one album for Weird Al to do a pastiche.
Oh, it's a pastiche of everything on the album except for Fight for Your Right.
And that says a whole heck of a lot, really, because if you think about like everything else that, even up to this point or even after that Al has done a style parody of, he's had a larger oeuvre to work with, and the fact that what they were doing on that one album was so recognizable that he was like, no, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this.
I'm overjoyed that he did this instead of like a direct parody of Fight for Your Right. Cause I'd have to look at the charts, but Fight for Your Right is probably the highest charting single off the record. And, I would be I am much happier that he did this than, a direct parody of Fight for Your Right. You know? Cause like Fight for Your Right's already silly as it is, you know?
Yeah,
my favorite record my favorite song off that record is probably Girls.
Yeah, that's a good cut. And I see, and when I'm listening to the record, I make it sound like I hate Fight for Your Right. I don't hate the song. I just don't like that it blew up as big as it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that song.
But it's a great precursor to Girls, rather, is a great precursor to the song. Like, I love, like, Girls is one of the most irreverent songs in the history of rap, and then all of a sudden they switch over to this hard rock song.
Yeah, that Fight for Your Right hit number 7 on the Hot 100.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the highest charting single off the record.
Yeah, it absolutely was. I mean, yeah, because then Brass Monkey followed that and it hit 48, probably just because it came after.
Brass Monkey's such a jam, though.
It's that Funky Monkey.
Brass Monkey is good.
Yep.
I think that's the first Beastie Boys song I ever heard.
Brass Monkey, probably.
Yeah, my mom really likes that.
I think it might be the first song I ever heard by him.
So do you have any, what's your personal favorite Beastie Boys song? It doesn't even have to be that would be included in this, up to this or after this.
I mean, and these are 2 singles, but a 2-way tie between So What You Want and Sabotage. And for as much as I went off about how I don't like the video for Fight for Your Right, the video for Sabotage is a masterpiece. And I know that doesn't have anything to do with the song. I genuinely love the song as it is. Like, I can't hear anyone on earth even come close to saying the phrase, I can't stand it, without in my head, I can't stand it. Like, it's just how it happens. And then I think So What You Want is such a masterpiece, and what a bold move to release that as a single. And I wish that had more, like, it was huge when it came out, but I wish it had more staying power. Like, I don't think many people today even mention that song, but man, was that a big single at the time. And I think it's 2-way tie, but I might lean towards So What You Want.
Okay. Zakk, do you have a favorite Beastie Boys song?
Probably Brass Monkey or Sabotage.
Yeah, Sabotage would be one of mine as well, if pressed to pick. And then I also have to honor 2-year-old me and go, you got to fight for your right to party.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I've been doing that for the better part of 40 years.
You've been on the front lines.
I have been on the front. I've lost friends to the fight for their right to party. So.
And then you can't pour one out because that would be disrespectful, because that's what they were fighting.
That's what they were fighting for.
That's what they were fighting for.
So, and you, Russ, you kind of touched on some underrated tracks, like stuff that you feel, should get more attention. So I feel like this is a question for you then.
Okay.
For somebody trying to get into the Beastie Boys somehow, like, do you have like 1 or 2 gateway songs?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to completely cheat. So not songs, but records.
Okay.
Like, don't get me wrong. I love License to Ill. I can tell you if you go drop the needle on it, I can pick the rhyme up from anywhere on the entire record. But that's not what the rest of, like, I think if you were to try and get someone into the Beastie Boys via License to Ill and they loved it, then they would hear the rest of the catalog and be like, well, that was a fun one album. Right?
Okay.
Because none of the rest of their stuff sounds much like it. There's 2 Beastie Boys records that I personally would use to get anybody into the band. And then basically it would be one of those things where like, hey, do you like this? No. Okay. Then do not listen to any more Beastie Boys, you know,
Okay.
or do you do? Okay, great. Then there's a lot more where that came from. One, I already labored this point a little bit, but their sophomore effort, Paul's Boutique, I think is the best overall rap record that they did. And then the other thing that I would tell people to listen to is, and it's a bit of a compilation, but not really. There's a Beastie Boys record called The In Sound from Way Out, which is a gathering of their instrumental tracks from pretty much like every record before it. And then they fleshed it out with like a couple of new tunes as well. But it's an entire instrumental Beastie Boys record. And that record is just wildly good, like wildly good. And so basically between those two, if I was to play that for someone and they went, oh, you know, I don't think I love that, then I'd be like, okay, well then there's no more Beastie Boys for you. But if, you know, somebody likes anything off of either of those records, then there's a lot more to be found in their catalog. Because there is more to the Beastie Boys than just the cadence, you know, that like the one I always think of that's the most stereotypical is like Intergalactic. You know, yeah, say the do the wop, you know, like that's the Beastie Boys cadence, you know.
Right.
But there's a ton more to them than that, and I think those 2 records show off most what they're capable of.
Thank you for that detailed answer. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
It's the least I could do.
I'm doing my best NPR right now, and I'm not sure why.
Right.
So we're gonna wrap up this segment and then throw it to the first commercial break. But we're wrapping up this segment with Russ's pastiche moment, because you wanted to make sure we dedicated some time for you to talk about how Twister was the song that finally made Weird Al's style parodies click for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've talked about this before, but, you know, In 3D was the first record that I bought after it was already out, and then I was there to buy them all on day one after that. But in between 3D and Stupid, I went back and got the debut record. And to me, everyone that he was doing a pastiche of on everything up until this point, I either hadn't heard the original artist ever or hadn't heard them much at all, right? Like, okay, so Burning Down the House was like in the Air Supply when that came out. Okay, so I heard Burning Down the House, okay? But I'm drawing a blank on the name of the song now. The pastiche of Talking Heads on
Doggy Dog.
Yeah, Doggy Dog. Good Lord, I would have never come up with that. I don't know why. Anyways, that is not in the vein of Burning Down the House. It's in the vein of Once in a Lifetime and She Was and things like that, which I hadn't heard, right? So all of those songs were funny to me, but I did not even remotely understand that he was like doing a riff on another artist, but not a direct parody. And then when I got even worse, I'm like going through the record. And then as soon as Twister started, I remember like thinking in the minute and a half of it, like, what Beastie Boys song is he parodying? Like, this is not any Beastie Boys song that I know. And then that was literally the first time where I was like, oh, he's doing a song just like in the style of the Beastie Boys. Okay. Like, and so that was like the first time he had done it where I knew the artist really well.
Okay.
And then that is the thing where like when Postmodern MTV played Channel Z by the B-52s, I'd listened to like a little more of the B-52s and I was like, wait a minute, and went back and listened to Poe Peel. And then later on, when I listened to like a lot more Talking Heads, I was like, hold on, you know, and I went back and listened to those others. So it was like a retroactive joke on these songs that I already loved. But this was the very first one where I was like, oh, okay. But I remember actively thinking like, but this isn't a Beastie Boys song. Like, you know, because for all I knew, everything he did was a direct parody or an original that didn't sound like anything else because I didn't know the original artists.
Right. Well, so this is, at this point, was Weird Al reaching out directly to you saying, this person isn't understanding my style parodies and you got to get it.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was. So with that ends the first segment of this program, and we're going to throw it to some ads, and we'll come back on the other side. Enjoy them. And we're back.
Man, I can't get back in that can.
Ah. So, since we are talking about the song Twister, I felt it would only be appropriate to talk a little bit about the game Twister.
Okay.
And the cultural phenomenon that was the game Twister. So I have a little anecdote that I need to share.
Okay.
Because I literally didn't know this because this was well before my time with anything really at all. So Twister was originally called Pretzel, and it was invented in 1964. And the idea was unusual because people became the game pieces instead of moving pieces around a board.
Right.
People thought it was scandalous. And when the game was pitched to retailers, many were uncomfortable with it because it was the mid-'60s, and a game that required unrelated adults to touch each other and get tangled up on the floor was considered risque.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all. Like, I wouldn't, like, if we had a party with like teenagers, I wouldn't want them playing Twister.
Yeah, some stores even refused to carry it because they thought it was too suggestive.
Yep.
So, with all of that being said, how did everybody have Twister then? On May 3rd of 1966, Ava Gabor played Twister with Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show. They played the game on national television, and then viewers immediately got to see how funny it was, and demand for the game exploded overnight, and then everybody wanted their copy. And historians actually point to this appearance as one of the earliest examples of a TV appearance instantly turning a product into a hit, and then it sold out almost immediately after the Tonight Show appearance, and it became one of the biggest selling toys in America.
Yeah, none of that surprises me.
I just thought it was really interesting because, like, I never thought about, Twister had always been around since I was a kid, and like I truly never thought about how like suggestive Twister could be.
Yeah,
because it was just like, okay, you have to just like do the thing, left foot blue, like you have to do all of that. So, is Twister a board game?
No.
Is Twister a party game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The end.
The end.
Well, I mean, there's no board, so it's not a board game. It's a rug.
It's a rug.
It's a mat.
It's a rug.
Yeah, it's a mat. And like, I think the whole idea behind it is to, like, if you get two people together playing Twister, like that's just flirting. Like, you know what I mean? Like no two people, male, female, one female, whatever, doesn't matter what the couple is. No two people get together and are like, let's play Twister, just the two of us. Like nobody.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it's by nature, it's a party game.
I wonder how many people, it says age range 6+.
Yeah, I think it's however many people you can fit on the mat.
Yeah, I want to know how many people can play Twister.
I guess that depends on your, how much you weigh.
Oh, that's fair.
How much space you take up.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I've the max I've played it with was 4. In 1966, Twister was licensed to Nintendo, then a toy and board game company.
Yeah, Nintendo didn't even remotely think about making games until like the late 70s. Or video games, rather.
Oh my God. I just found this out. In 2023, Hasbro introduced Twister Air, an app-driven version of the game that uses motion tracking wearables and augmented reality to track players' movements. Okay. So anyhow, does Twister require more strategy than people care to admit? Or is it just like, let's see what I can do?
Yeah, I think it's just see what you can do, isn't it? You just spin the thing and
spin the spinner and call the shots.
Yeah, but you just like
Twister ties you up in a knot.
Yep. You just go wherever is available.
But I mean, yes, wherever's available. But like where you start, I think dictates something, right? I don't know. Listeners, how much strategy do you think is involved in Twister? Let me know. Thanks.
Not enough.
Right, not enough. It's not enough strategy. So anyhow, it's finally time to actually get to Weird Al's version of Twister and talk about the lyrics. No, I didn't want Twitter. I wanted Twister. Silly internet. So yeah. Let's try and take as close of a reading at this as we possibly can. Would you like me to recite the lyrics?
No, well, I think we all know.
I think we all know them.
Yeah.
I mean, because Milton Bradley's got a deaf one. All the girls and homeboys. Everybody's chilling. Wherever things are illin', you'll find Twister. You got to get it. So, who's narrating this song? What's going on? Or is it just somebody who really enjoys Twister and wanted to talk about it?
I think much like the Beastie Boys, who just really enjoyed partying and chasing after women. I think it's just three dudes talking about how much they love Twister.
Zakk, what do you think lyrically? How do you feel about this song?
Well, it gets me really fired up, yeah. It's I think that it's just three guys talking about how much they love playing Twister. I think it's true to the Beastie Boys style in the way that it's just three guys who really, really love what they do, and what they do is play Twister.
Because that's the thing too, is, like most Weird Al style parodies, like, it's part of it is the fact that they're talking about something so silly, because a lot of what the Beastie Boys talk about on License to Ill is very silly.
Okay.
Like, there's like so many things that are like, there's a lot of discussion about how much they love White Castle on the album License to Ill, and
from White Castle to the now.
Yep. And so I think that's part of this too. It's just he just kind of picked like, what would be something silly to get all fired up about?
Yeah. I mean, that's fair and reasonable. So neither of you would say then, I'm about to sneeze. Oh, God. You wouldn't say that you were about to sneeze. I stifled the first two. That one had to come out because I was trying to talk. And it's like right before I was about to make a point about how neither of you would say then that this song is a commentary on physical endurance, the struggle against fate, and the inevitability of losing balance.
I would not say that, no. I would say that this is about Weird Al picked something very silly to get all excited over.
Okay.
And went with it.
Okay.
I never thought about the deeper meaning. It could be.
Well, because Twister is one of the few games where disorder is the entire point.
Right.
I think Jenga falls under that.
Yeah, I would say so.
Or is Jenga the control of disorder?
Well, you're also in control during Twister.
Well, with every spin, the situation becomes less stable in Twister. But I guess that's also true of Jenga, with everything you pull apart. Yeah.
The only difference is with Jenga, the choice is up to you. And in Twister, it's reliant on the spinner.
It is reliant on the spinner in Twister, And I would say that Twister is more about, I mean, this could be me taking this to a place where I want to take it. And that's what I'm going to try and do. Where Twister rewards adaptability rather than planning, right? You can't, like you kind of said, Russ, you can't plan in Twister. You have to adapt in Twister.
Right.
And both the Beastie Boys and Weird Al just adapted to what was happening. So maybe it's more of a after the fact note on that, I think. I think it's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, Weird Al, he commits to the bit. It's a good joke. I think his vocal is fantastic on this. And now we're going to get to the thing that I know the two of you have been chomping at the bit to talk about the entire time. Because it does tie into this and stuff that you've been talking about already. But yeah, the Michael Jackson biopic and the Twister scene. Mm-hmm. So this is for you. This is for you guys.
It's funny. It's a inadvertent cross section between Weird Al and Michael Jackson. Mm-hmm. Like way late in the game, because like, and for this song to be on the cover or on the album with where Weird Al's doing a direct parody of a Michael Jackson album cover is kind of interesting as well. But and I know we're going to talk about this a little more in depth, but I do love the fact that the scene, which by the way is a very heartbreaking scene in the film, involving Twister, that that scene caused Twister to start selling out nationwide.
Again, yeah. So, do you guys want to explain the scene in the movie?
Zakk, you can. I mean, we've both seen the movie a lot, but
Zack's seen it more.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean the basis of the scene is Michael goes out and goes shopping, and I think he's in his late teens, early 20s at this point, right?
Yeah, it's probably I think like 20, 21, 22, something like that.
Yeah, early 20s. And he goes out and he gets Twister, and he's thinking about playing with his brothers, and he's really excited when he comes home. His brothers are outside playing basketball, and the majority of his brothers are older than him. And he's like, "Hey guys, let's play Twister," and they're like, "No, Michael, we're too grown up for all that." And he goes in his room and plays Twister by himself with Bubbles.
And
Which Bubbles is his pet monkey, for those of you who do not know.
Yeah, Bubbles is still with us.
yeah, yep.
Bubbles is still with us, and Bubbles is the man.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing with the scene is the thing that bothers me the absolute most about the scene is that the brothers are all playing basketball, and they tell Michael that the reason why they don't want to play Twister with him is because they don't have time to play games while they're physically playing basketball,
Which is a game.
yeah, which
is a game.
which is a game. And then, like I say, with it being a heartbreaking scene, it's one of those, like, for anybody who hasn't seen the film, if you've heard anything about the movie, you've probably heard what an amazing job Jafar Jackson did in playing his uncle, and it's all said like with looks, like he looks so hurt because Michael Jackson was a very, very, very smart person, and a lot of people don't realize that, like, as far as like his actual like book smarts and intelligence, and that's why he cared so much about the human condition, because he really, really understood people from a psychological standpoint. And the look on Jafar's face when they say that is exactly what I just said. Like, the look is like, but you're playing a game right now. But he also knows that it's not worth it to argue with him, because that's not really why they don't want to play with him. Anyways, they just don't like him all that much. Like, they don't really see him as like their buddy and their friend. And that's what he was hoping for from them. And so it's a really, really, really heartbreaking scene. And even like in a couple minutes later, it kind of picks up a little bit because they show him playing with Bubbles, like Zakk mentioned, playing Twister. But then the scene just comes to a screeching halt again because he runs into his dad in the house, and that's a whole other story. But so it's really, the scene is like really bookended. And what's interesting too is while he's in the toy store buying all those things before he goes back to home, it's one of those things where it really shows you like what it would be like to be a celebrity like that, because one person, Pauline, the mom, recognizes Michael in the store, and everybody there is just so happy to like be around him and get a moment of his time and everything. And he's very gracious, as Michael Jackson was, and he signs a bunch of autographs, and he's even gives a kid a tip on how to play a video game and all this. And then doesn't blow anybody off, but he's like wanting to get home to play with his brothers. And so this guy who's like everybody out in the world is like dying to spend time with, when he gets home, the one people he wants to be accepted by are like, get out of here. So what's interesting though is, first of all, that that moment is real. That is a thing that happened. They didn't just make that up for the movie. That actually occurred in real life. And it was the way that it happens in the film. So many people who watched the movie totally understood it. And that's why the surge in sales happened for Twister. Like, people were literally going out and buying a game they probably hadn't thought of in decades, because they felt so bad for this person that this thing happened to. So to me, that was the most impressive thing, because a lot of times like that with like scenes with nuance like that, it kind of goes over people's heads. But like, everybody who saw the movie seem to really understand what was.
Well, I think that comes back to Jafar. Like you said, Jafar plays it so well. He says, "You man, you guys are no fun anymore," and he's smiling, but you can tell
Yeah, it's
that like because Michael, I wouldn't say that he wasn't good at expressing his emotions. I think he was too shy to do it most of the time. So he just put on a face and went and had fun anyway with Bubbles.
Yep.
But it's still like you can see the heartbreak, like you said.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it, like me, I haven't thought of the game Twister in forever. And then that scene happened and it was on my mind for like weeks afterwards.
Yeah.
A total missed opportunity by Milton Bradley to not, or whoever owns them now, to not instantly market. Like I would have been taking out social media ads like instantly with some sort of reference to the movie. So,
Oh yeah, for sure.
but apparently they didn't have to either because the game was selling out. So
Yeah, because it was. I guess apparently there was an exclusive version of the game in 2012 promoted by Britney Spears. But I feel like, yeah, they didn't really have to do it. It kind of happened organically with the Michael thing, didn't it?
yep.
Didn't it? Oh, here's something that I think Michael would appreciate anyway. Blindfolded Twister is an accessible variant where there are 4 different tactile symbols on the mat, which allows people who can't see to be able to play.
That's fun. That's good.
It's very fun.
So there's an accessibility factor to Twister. So yeah, I mean, like, you can keep talking about, you know, the movie and the Weird Al connection. You know, we've talked ad nauseum here about Michael Jackson's importance to Weird Al's career, and it was like you said, Russ. You know, when we started this particular little segment of the program, is that it's really quite interesting that, you know, all these years later, there's another like weird, indirect, like dotted line between the two. Like Weird Al picked this board game to do on the album that has a cover and a song that are direct parodies of something Michael Jackson did, and then you know, the game gets mentioned in a very poignant scene in the movie.
Yeah, it's not like there's just this happy scene where they all play Twister, and it's not. I mean, it's like a pivotal moment in the movie. And yeah, you know, it can't be understated how important Michael Jackson is to Weird Al's career. You know, and I don't think Weird Al's ever taken that for granted, or had really a bad word to say about MJ. And I've labored this point a lot recently, but the fact that he respected Michael's wishes when it came time for Michael to say no thank you on Black or White, I think that's really, really admirable of him to have done what he did then. And, you know, like people are always going to equate Weird Al to Michael Jackson, no matter how big any parody he's had since then is. He's had much bigger hits since those two, but no one is ever gonna. I mean, people are always gonna equate the two together.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Zakk, anything further you'd like to add to the Weird Al and Michael Jackson of it all? You can say no.
No.
Okay.
Not at this moment. No comment.
Not at this moment. No comment. Very good. With that, I'm going to throw it to the second ad break in this program, and so we will catch you on the other side of that. Oh, guess what? I'm totally faking you out. There's more ads. And I'm doing it one more time because I'm greedy. And we're back for real.
Very nice.
Hey, yeah, I'm mostly doing that because you get hit an episode and it gets to a certain length, they yell at you if you don't have enough ad breaks, and rather than break the conversation up too many times, they're just going to keep faking people out. So we're getting to the end of our conversation here. I'd just like to talk a little bit about the legacy of tiny songs in Weird Al's oeuvre, because this is a tiny song, right? This is not a long song at all in Weird Al's catalog. It is very, very short, actually. Let me get the exact. Yeah, it's 1 minute and 3 seconds.
3 seconds matter.
Those 3 seconds absolutely do matter. So, I mean, Weird Al has plenty of songs that aren't long at all. I would say that to compare it to some other brief entries in Weird Al's catalog, you would have to talk about Let Me Be Your Hog. That's short. Harvey the Wonder Hamster. That's short.
Mm-hmm. Trying to think that. I mean, there's a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of Weird Al songs that are short. Oh, see, I'm trying to look up Weird Al's shortest songs, and it's funny because it's like everybody's talking about his shortest songs or being like, yeah, Let Me Be Your Hog, that's fine. And then it's all stuff from the medium rarities set, you know, because Lousy Haircut's 40 seconds, Comedy Bang Bang Theme is 30 seconds, but like those are things for a particular reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I would figure.
No, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, Since You've Been Gone is really short.
Yeah, for sure.
Since You've Been Gone is 1 minute and 22 seconds. So, you know, Weird Al has a lot of short songs that still work, you know? So, like, we talked about it with this, you know? So, like, why Al occasionally embraces brevity, you know? Because we're talking about a guy who has songs that range from anywhere from, like, 12 seconds all the way up to, like, what, Genius in France is something like 14 minutes long.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. He's got a bunch that's like huge.
How long is Albuquerque?
Albuquerque is 11 minutes. I had to like check for sure now. So hold on. Let me hit the button.
Wait a minute. I'll go check.
Yeah. 11 minutes and 23 seconds. I was very close.
I do quite enjoy Albuquerque. I might go as far as saying it's my favorite Weird Al song.
Oh, really? I love that for you. I think that's fantastic. So that's how long is Genius in France? Everybody's saying Albuquerque's a long. Genius in France is only 8 minutes and 58 seconds. Why does Genius in France feel longer in my head?
Probably because it goes through so many different genres.
Oh, genres, all the genres. Yeah, that's totally fair. That's totally fair. So, you know, that's part of the deal with comedy and length. And this is something that I talk to my writing students about all the time is understanding when, you know, what's the best way for me to put this? You know, in my college writing classes, especially like first year freshman writing classes, students are always asking me about word count. Like word count. How long does this have to be? How long does this have to be? Right? And I'm like, it needs to be as long as it needs to be. You know, and that's the thing with a lot of stuff that Weird Al does is that he absolutely understands how long something needs to be. And if something needs to be long, it's long. If something only needs to be 1 minute and 3 seconds, and it's only 1 minute and 3 seconds. You know, it's understanding when a joke has done its job and making something memorable in barely over a minute, you know? So here's a question then I pose to you both. We kind of touched on this earlier. Would Twister be as remembered as fondly if it were longer?
That's a not weird question, but hard to answer because it's fine the way it is. And I don't think there would be any point in making it longer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I guess my answer is it would probably risk being not as funny if it was longer.
So,
because I mean, he covers everything you need to know about Twister in the time of the lyrics, right? He would just kind of have to start repeating himself, or the second verse would have to be about a different game.
I mean, and that's kind of the question. Like, he could have done that, right? So, like, if Twister had to be expanded to, say, 4 minutes, what could he have added to it? You know, because
that's other
games.
Yeah, other games. Or that's my theory.
I don't think that Al's incapable of stretching Twister out to 4 minutes. I think that he can go crazy in depth into Twister and stretched out for 4 minutes. Do I think it needs to be 4 minutes? No. So I think circles back to your original point of him embracing the brevity
and knowing when the joke is done.
Yes.
and kind of, like, to that point, I guess he could have added something along the lines of, how Russ, you talked about how one of the things that the Beastie Boys did so much was like not brag on themselves.
Yeah.
And talk about how they're bad at it. So like maybe after bragging on the game, the narrator could have flipped it and talked about how bad he is at playing Twister.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Zakk
to.
said, it's not that I don't think Weird Al could have done it. I just don't think there would be a need to.
But if he did, you're right. He absolutely didn't have to. So here's another Weird Al song question for you then. Is there, in your opinion, a Weird Al song that would actually be improved if it were only about a minute long? This is a difficult question.
I mean, no, not that I can think of off the top of my head, because I never have I listened to a Weird Al song and thought this is too long.
That's fair.
So
the only one I can think of, and this is I may be being slightly blasphemous on my own show, really, is Christmas at Ground Zero. And it's not because I don't like Christmas at Ground Zero. It's because Christmas songs of that ilk tend to be shorter than that song is.
yeah.
The Night Santa Went Crazy is shorter than that, right?
No, I don't know. I think The Night Santa Went Crazy is longer. But who's to even say? The Night Santa Went Crazy is, I love having the internet right in front of me, is 3:59. And then you've got Christmas at Ground Zero. I love that people are probably like listening to me vamp as I'm going through this to try and find exactly where this is. Christmas at Ground Zero is 3:09. And like I said, Christmas songs of that ilk are like way shorter. Like if you look at a lot of the stuff on Bing Crosby's like catalog, it's barely over a minute.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I could really think to answer that ridiculous question.
I
had
totally
there.
agree with your theory on why you're saying that, but like I also love all of.
Oh, me too.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I understand what you mean as far as the like the theory behind why it could be shorter, but I also would be very sad if Christmas at Ground Zero was shorter.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we go to our closing thoughts.
Sure.
I have a question for the listeners. What's the shortest Weird Al song you'd be willing to hear us spend over an hour discussing? Was this it?
I was going to say, I feel like this or Let Me Be Your Hog, but I don't know. I guess we'll address that when we get to UHF. That's probably my least favorite song in all of Weird Al.
So we'll cross that bridge when we get there, I guess. Let me know, folks. I mean, I just also feel like we need to acknowledge the fact that we've now spent significantly more time talking about Twister than Weird Al spent recording it.
Well, that was the thing when we had talked initially, Zakk, about like you coming on the show, and Lauren was like, "Oh, he's going to do Twister," and like the first thing that I said to Lauren was, "Okay, but we have to make sure the episode is obnoxiously long because because the song is so short."
Yeah.
I will. By the way, I will not be entertaining that for "Let Me Be Your Hog."
No,
I will
that's
not
okay.
be talking about that song for that long.
No.
But yeah, we have talked about it. But and again, like, and I know I'm the go-to guy for MJ stuff, and so is my son. But like, that's a culturally significant thing that happened over the past 2 months, and I think it's lost on a lot of people that. Like let me say this: I'm at least the close personal friends of Al on Facebook, and I have yet to see anyone mention the fact that like there's that famous Twister scene in the movie, and also Weird Al had a song called Twister on Even Worse.
Well, they're about to hear about it the day this episode comes out.
Right. But yeah, so I think there's like a lot more to talk about than just. And like the history of the Beastie Boys and whatnot, and that ridiculously terrible quote about it.
I know. You're going to be talking about that for weeks.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just, I mean, like the point Zakk made is the best point that there is about that, which is like that's things like that make fallacies become fact. Like that's a thing that is out on the internet now. That's a book that can be quoted by, I'm sure, guys who, if nothing else, refer to themselves as experts. And people are going to say that. And who knows what other horse manure is in that book. Because if that's anything to go by, then the entirety of the rest of the book is probably revisionist history as well.
Yeah. Horse patootie.
That's where the horse manure comes from.
The patootie of the horse.
The horse patootie.
Yeah, the horse patootie.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do we have in Zakk back on?
We haven't figured that out. Zakk can come back whenever he wants.
Mark?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I'll be back tomorrow, same time.
not trying to do nepotism here, but he's a good guest,
Yeah. And I'm not trying to do nepotism, but let's do some nepotism.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, take a look at UHF. We got a couple people claimed a couple of things, but there's plenty of things that are open.
It's a long record, so there's a lot on there.
That's true. That's very true. So, anyhow, Zakk, do you have any closing thoughts? Anything you'd like to add?
No, but I did just have exciting things happen. I acquired Jack White tickets for fairly cheap.
Oh, good.
Oh, like while we were talking? That
while
happened?
we were talking.
Very nice. For what? Is he playing Pine Knob?
Pine Knob.
Right on. Is it one show or two?
One.
Right on.
And it sold out the day of.
Oh, no,
that
I
they were
remember.
released.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, and I got lawn tickets for well below market.
That's awesome.
Huzzah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figure that's probably a show that every reseller in Detroit probably bought up instantly and now is realizing that they need to unload a lot of tickets. Because as much as I like Jack White and all, I think the biggest venue he's ever played in Detroit up till that point would have sat like 6,000. So if you're going
to... That's significantly.
Yeah, Pine Knob's almost triple.
Weird Al sold it out.
So, yeah, but that's awesome. That's good to know.
Yeah, didn't Al sell that out?
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Weird Al absolutely sold it out.
Yeah, and yesterday, as of this recording, Weird Al sold out Red Rocks again.
That's great.
I'm just so proud of him.
You should be.
I love him so much. Weird Al's the best.
I agree.
He is the best.
That's why I have this show. And that's why I'm so glad.
We got to wait till September to see him again.
I know, but it's okay. We still get to
I
go.
would quite enjoy being able to see him. If I meet him, I have seen him, but I would like to meet him.
Yeah.
He's good to meet. He's a good person. He let me blabber on about Troy to him. So
Well, I'm sure he understands.
He understands. He confirmed that Troy was, in fact, a good boy. So that's all we can really ask for. You know, when your hero tells you that your dog was a good boy, that's...
Yep. You had...
well, the world can kind of feel how good of a boy Troy was.
Troy was a very good boy.
Had Weird Al and Mick Foley both tell you that he was a good boy within days of each other.
Yeah.
So.
And I got autographed proof. I almost said poof. Autographed proof of both of those assertions.
Poop.
I have autographed poop. Yeah. That's great. Well, on that note, Zakk, this has been lovely. Thank you for being here. Russ, thank you as always for being here.
Putting the effort in. Putting
all that effort in. I really do appreciate it. And if you enjoyed the episode we had 2 weeks ago with Scotty, you're in luck because he's back again on the next episode. So it's like a Zakk sandwich on Scotty bread.
Sure.
This particular album is rounding itself out.
And Zakk knows Scotty.
Yeah, yeah. It's true. It's true. So yeah, stay tuned for that next time. And you know, we're keep trucking along. We got the UHF series coming up soon enough.
Yeah. The next episode is the final track on Even Worse, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So that's telling me, Lauren, you got to start planning and getting people lined up for things.
And then not to discount. I mean, I went on about how much I love Polka Party, and I think it's been obvious through this series how much I love Even Worse. But UHF is a gargantuan thing in the Weird Al world, so I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that.
I think so too. Yep. I think so too. Yeah, I'm excited about it. What a time to be alive. But anyway, thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening. And as Weird Al once said, be kind, bring joy, repeat. Bye.
up at 4 today and went on this dude's YouTube channel, and it was a lot of fun. Like the one dude that he has on his channel with him a lot is just a really cool dude from over in England, and the other guy, I just met him today for the first time, even though I've watched a lot of videos with him on there. So like, I've heard him talk a lot about a bunch of different things, but he's like a mega Prince fan, and he's a mega Michael Jackson fan, and he's big into wrestling and whatnot. So I think Lauren and I are going to go back on the show together to talk more about like wrestling and whatnot. So that'll be fun. But
Yeah.
He's like huge Prince fan. So we're gonna him and the main guy that hosts the show are gonna do a show about our Prince concert experiences and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. But yeah, this morning we literally talked for 2 hours straight just about how excited we all are that the movie is doing as well as it is, and how basically all the critics and press per usual can go fuck themselves.
Now, what I loved about, I've rewatched it about 6 or 7 times now at home.
Nice.
But what I loved is, have you watched the behind the scenes?
Yeah, I did. I only once, but I watched it once. Yeah.
I loved how much fun everybody had making that movie.
Yep.
And how much love you can tell was put into it, because that is exactly what Michael would have wanted.
Yep.
For sure.
Agree.
We'll have more time to talk about the Michael movie here a little bit later on.
Yep.
But okay.